Now, as he's kind of processing out, he met a guy named Captain Rupertus at the Marine Corps headquarters. And this is what the advice he gave him. He sees this young hard charger and says, if I were you, I'd go down to Haiti. You'll get commissions in the constabulary down there, and they need good men, and there's plenty of fighting. You'd see action and have some fun. So at this point in Haiti, they had basically built this it's a gendarmerie is what they call it, but it's a military force that also does police work, kind of. So, and there was a revolution in Haiti. There was issues in Haiti, and so America actually invaded Haiti in 1915, and now they had established this force to keep things under control. And the way they did it, it was run. They took the locals and they put basically hired former Marines to be in charge of them. And then the goal was, as the locals, the native Haitians, started to understand military operations, they would get promoted, and the American Marines and soldiers could go home. That was the plan. So let's see. I kind of just covered this, but Haiti was the strife-torn western tip of the island, shared with the Dominican Republic. Revolutions had been shaking the government since 1914. After almost a century of freedom from France, since 1916, at the request of the Haitian government, Marines had policed the country amid violence, which had taken nearly 2,000 lives, almost all Haitian. General Smedley Butler, who we'll get to sometime on this podcast, had created the Gendarmerie de Haiti. With a shrewd disregard for precedent, the senior officers were U.S. Marine officers whose brief tours of 2 years created a supply of field-trained commanders. But he chose the Marine enlisted men to act as junior officers and allowed them to stay as long as they wished, on the theory that they became more valuable as they learned the language and customs of the people. In practice, it was these Marine enlisted men who operated the force. Under them were many native soldiers, most of them veterans of the old Haitian army. And from this pool, they were drawn second lieutenants and sergeants and corporals. So that's what you have. That's the situation. So he deploys down there. He's not really in the Marine Corps. He's a hired hand, basically. So now he's there, not for very long. And back to the book. About 4 p.m., without warning, Lewis stumbled into the first fight of his career and proved his instinct for combat. The pack train, this is a group he was moving, a group of people through the woods. The pack train was ambling around a wooded bend between hills, which were littered with stones and cactus, when it met an oncoming Keiko band. This is the revolutionaries, I guess you'd call them, the Keiko band, of about 100, equally surprised and in the same formation. Puller spurred his horse and yelled, "Charge! Attack!" The column charged, horses, pack mules, and all, and in the thunder and dust, fierce yells of the Caicos broke for the hills, firing a few stray rounds. So that was kind of his first combat experience. You got to bring that up. But he was default aggressive, even in a logistics movement. They got a bunch of pack horses, and he's like, "Oh, charge." And it worked. Back to the book, another situation that he gets into. From the opposite shore, a native in Dominican dress rode out on a magnificent horse, a big buckskin with white mane and tail, who splashed through the shallows under perfect control, though without a bridle or saddle. "A wonderful horse," Puller said. "I'd surely like to have him." Bruno, who's one of the natives that was working under him, muttered in Creole, and a rifle cracked. Puller saw one of his men pull his rifle bolt back and eject a cartridge. The beautiful horse stood in the river, looking nervously about. His rider floated down the stream in a stain of blood. The stunned Puller turned to Bruno. "Did you order that man shot?" "Hell, sir. You said you wanted the horse. Anything the captain says is our command. We have discipline here, sir." The man seemed unmoved by the cold-blooded killing. "My God, catch the horse, get the men over the river, and see if you can find that man's family." And the reason I pulled this out is this line right here. Lewis never again expressed himself idly before these soldiers. So that's a crazy story, right? He says, "Oh, that's a beautiful horse. I'd love to have that horse." And they kill the horse rider. It's just a civilian. But he realized the power that you have in command. And there's sometimes when people don't realize that. Some people don't realize how I run in that with business leaders. They'll walk around, "Oh, this is crap," and everyone thinks it's crap then.
Yeah.
Or you got to realize that your words have meaning.
Yeah.
And when you're in a senior position, your words have power. And so that was how he learned that lesson in a very horrible way. Back to the book. Company A had waded the stream without opposition, but as they mounted the ridge beyond, a rifle fired, and there was a terrifying shriek of a bullet overhead. Puller ducked. Lieutenant Leody was at his side and said, "Captain Puller, officers do not flinch under fire. They stand. The men take note of this thing. It is of first importance." So he's going to get plenty of exercise in that, and you'll see he becomes well known for never flinching again under fire. Here's something about the people they were fighting, these Keiko bandits. They carry off every body and every wounded man. And when they catch our wounded, well, Captain, if you see one, you'll never forget. The Keikos believe every man who dies must go before the gods, and they use their knives to see that when our men go, they are beyond recognition. They slash the face to ribbons and tear the body apart. You will see. Captain, it's a matter of life or death for the officers and non-commissioned officers here to have respect from the men. And something more, adulation. They must obey orders to the letter without question, though they die for it. It is the only way to handle men in combat. If you lose control, you lose lives. It is as simple as that. So there you see this super strict discipline that they're into. And this is something you're going to see this theme throughout the book, that Chesty has this reputation, which is earned, of being super hardcore. But also in the book, you're going to see over and over again that there's a huge dichotomy, that he's super hardcore, but at the same time, he knows when he needs to give people slack. He knows when he needs to be a positive reinforcement instead of a negative one. And his reputation doesn't have that. But that line right there, like, hey, they just need to do whatever you say, he doesn't even believe that. But it's pointed out, and so I brought it up because the contradiction becomes pretty clear, or not the contradiction, but the dichotomy is very clear throughout this book.